guys, welcome back to Blitz for an amazing episode we have today. Unfortunately, Bryson could not make it, but we have an amazing guest for today. Ronan Young, aka Steel City Recaps, will be joining the show. So please welcome Ronan Young.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. I've heard a lot of good things about you guys, and I'm glad to show face on such an amazing podcast. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Let's just jump in. You had some good things happen with you on your social media lately. You've been going to a Steelers training camp, and just couple just recently you just got on the your video got on the Pat McAfee show and ESPN,
Yeah.
and I just want to know your thoughts on that and what when you were watching that, you seen that. I want to know your feelings and on that.
No, truthfully, like it's honestly unbelievable, like to see something that you put out like on such a respected show like that. I joke a lot with my family, saying stuff like the only vacation I'll be taking this summer is up to the town of Latrobe. Latrobe has a special place in my heart, like it really does, because every year I go up there, like at least 5 to 10 times, specifically more in the last 2 years, right? But to see like it didn't happen overnight. Like Steel City Recaps has been around since I was a freshman in high school, and I just graduated high school. Like it took a couple years for me to get to this point now, and truthfully, like it's unbelievable to have such a strong community behind me. Because they do all the work, you know what I mean? Like I just make it happen on my end, and they really make it happen on theirs by liking the stuff, reposting what they need to do, and the Steel Crew, like they're a community you don't want to mess with. I mean that, but it's honestly like it's surreal, honestly, because I was sitting at work and I was watching the McAfee show. Like I just usually have it on in the background, and like they get to the Steelers section, so I'm like, all right, let me listen to this, right? And I'm watching it, and I go, wait, that's my video. You know what I mean? So like that was pretty cool. Like to have that, I feel like I like moving the story of the Steelers, and like while it was a small, corny video that was maybe 11 to 15 seconds long, like it hit the spot because ESPN, Bleacher Report, Sports Illustrated, like all these huge like companies and sports media companies like that inspired me to become Steel City Recaps are now using my stuff. It's unbelievable, and like it's hard to believe, really.
Yeah, that's an amazing thing, and I just want to start off in the beginning. Um, you're from Pittsburgh, and so I just want to know your how did you become a Steelers fan, and I want to know like where did it begin for you?
Yeah, no. So I've been like a Steeler fan, honestly, like all my life, like just a Pittsburgh sports fan in general. Like for me, it definitely started more with the Penguins. Like I remember being like 10 years old and meeting like Sidney Crosby, and from that day on, I was sports, sports, sports. You know what I mean? It was kind of like that. But like the way that I kind of became Steel City Recaps was I started this trade school, right? This trade school through my high school program, and I didn't enjoy it much. And there was a lot of toughness that came with that. Waking up at 6 a.m., not getting home until 4:30, and then going to hockey practice. I used to play hockey goalie, and then and then go to sleep and then repeat. It just wasn't that fun. It wasn't that exciting. I'm the kind of guy that doesn't like to sit down. Like I like making stuff happen, and I feel like I couldn't even, looking back, like I remember I couldn't even like really hold a conversation. It felt like, and people from my high school will tell you, like I was one of those like quieter kids my freshman year, but slowly but surely, after I started my account about halfway through my freshman year of high school, I started to break out of my shell. By covering the Steelers with Kenny Pickett, who was very hard to cover, as a reporter because we weren't very good. But through Steel City Recaps, like you see, like it's not just about football and you know Steelers, Penguins, and Pirates. And it's not just sports for Pittsburgh people. Like for Pittsburghers, for Yinzers, like it's what it means to the city. It's the effect that it has on the city, and I think that's what I really fell in love with, like especially over the last couple of years. And I think that's what's made it so easy for me to do the hard things. Like just that early struggle, and how honestly Steel City Recaps has changed my life and like kind of like in a non cringy way, like made me into the man I am today. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's an amazing from Pittsburgh. You grow up as you from Pittsburgh. You grow up this greatness and this you know
Yeah.
So I just want to jump in some questions on you. You got that one. On your journey as Steel City Recaps and just having this journey, what has been your favorite moment in this whole journey and you have gotten experience?
There has been a lot of really cool moments. I think for me, like I am I'm inspired by my community. I think is the best way to put it. Like, it's hard. Like, it's so rewarding to me whenever like someone comes up to me and says, "Oh, are you Steel City Recaps?" Because it means that my work is being appreciated, right? So I think like the number one thing, right? The number one moment that I had, I talked about this in a previous like interview with the Lebo Beat, a local newspaper from Mount Lebanon, which is where I live in Pittsburgh, where I used to live and graduated from high school. Um, my best moment ever, right, was okay. So I'm at training camp last year, 2025, okay,
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah.
waiting in line for water, okay, and this like family comes up to me. It's like two sisters, a mom, right? And they start being like, "Are you Steel City Recaps?" And like we're kind of just chatting, "Oh, what do you think of the team?" But I noticed that this little sister, anywhere from maybe like 9 to 12 years old, has a load of autographs on her phone case, like to the point where I was doing like, "Wow, like you got some serious autographs on there," because I think she had like DK Metcalf and TJ Watt, right? So it was a serious phone case, right? But we were kind of chatting about that, right? And I go about my business, get a water or whatever, and as I go to walk away, I say, "Hey, thanks a lot." And this girl like has a Sharpie and her phone case like holding up, right? And she goes, "Mr. Steel City, can you sign this for me?" And I signed my first ever like autograph that day, which was an unbelievable feeling. Like, like me, right? Like these are all players that like I look up to, like DK Metcalf, TJ Watt. Like those are all guys like that millions of people all over the world look up to, as professional athletes. And I think like that moment just it showed me how much like actual impact that creating sports videos actually has, which is just an unbelievable like experience. Like I think I maybe had like 10 to 12,000 followers at that point on Instagram, and just someone like thinking enough of me to ask for an autograph with kind of on the same level as those two players. Like it was truthfully an unbelievable experience, and it changed the trajectory of Steel City Recaps like insanely. Like from that moment on, it was just thing after thing after thing.
Sweet. That's a kind of an amazing experience that you had right there. Just thinking someone saw you and recognized you and they say, "Hey, can you get my autograph?" That's an amazing experience that you had. Um, I'm gonna jump off and just talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers, the team. We've been struggling for about a decade now in the playoffs and haven't jumped that next spot. And I just want to know your thoughts on this you've watched the Steelers for the past like 10 years of having this playoff drought, and I want to know this year, do you? Because every year, Steelers fans say this and this and that because that's what we do. We
That's
just
all
talk.
we do, right?
That's what we do. We talk and we talk. But I want to know like the years you've seen, and then we have new coach staff coming into Pittsburgh. Mike McCarthy, Mike Tomlin stepped down
Mhm.
last year, and having this new coach staff and Aaron re-signing with the Pittsburgh Steelers and having him for another year. I want to know what you want to expect from this team this year, and truly believe we're going to go that next step and win that playoff game and have be able to win and show the city of Pittsburgh, because we say that we're the city of champions, but we haven't done it for tons of years. Yes, we have the titles and stuff like that, but we haven't done it regularly. So I want to know your thoughts about this season, and just the Steelers in general, on what we have been doing, and yeah.
No, absolutely. So I think like the biggest thing about this year is how important I think it is for the Steelers, right? Because if you go off and have a good year this year, I think everyone buys into the McCarthy era and things like that, right? Some things that make me excited about the Steelers' future as well as the now is like they're really investing into the Drew Aller. They're really investing into the Will Howard, like those younger, maybe high potential quarterbacks. And who knows, like it could blow up in your face, right? Like I'm a big Drew Aller fan myself. Like I really like the way that he operates, and I think that he has a huge like it's through the roof when you see him play. But I'm sure we'll get to that, right? Let's talk about this year, okay? You got Mike McCarthy. He's a new coach. I don't think like many new coaches win the Super Bowl, right? I think this team is a contender. I think it's an AFC contender. I think that's the best way to put it. Like, I think you got DK, you got Pittman. I don't think the receiver core is as strong as maybe a lot of people think it is, based on what I've seen at training camp. And I think that could hurt this team again if an injury happens or anything. The linebacker room is really rough, in my opinion, with Peyton Wilson, Cole Holcomb, and Patrick Queen. Although I'm really excited to see what Patrick Graham brings to the table. He's the Steelers' new defensive coordinator that Mike McCarthy brought in. Listen, like, at the end of the day, like, I'm a Steelers fan, right? Like, I want the team to do well. But if we're talking about it from, a real perspective, from a, simply professional perspective in a way, kind of taking the fan out of it, I do think that this team could win a playoff game. But it kind of, I think, all falls on Aaron Rodgers' shoulders, right? Because, if Mike McCarthy wants to lean into the offense and make it happen, like, I think the defense is going to step up. Like, I would be really surprised if the defense wasn't anywhere. Like, if the defense isn't above 20, like, I'd be surprised. You know what I mean? Like, 20th overall, which is like last year the Steelers' defense, like, to put it simply, sucked. Like, guys, they were like 28 to 30. You know what I mean? They were giving up 300 yards on the ground. They were saying, you get a touchdown, you get a touchdown. They're like Oprah Winfrey hanging out touchdowns left, right, and central.
Yeah.
Seriously, though. But
Yeah.
I think the defense is like almost like 100% going to take a step up, whether it's just from 28 to 27. I think they're going to just increase from last year, right? I think they're just a little more focused this year, especially in training camp. They're going to get Ramsey back for week 1. And yeah, no, I'm excited for that. But I do think that a lot of this falls on the offense, right? Like, we can all sit here and talk about like Mike Tomlin was a great coach, and I think that he was a good coach. I think he's a top 10 to 20 coach of all time, personally. But I do think that it was time for a change, and I'm excited for the McCarthy era in Pittsburgh. I'm really excited to see what he can do with the 2 young quarterbacks. I think that's what I'm most excited to see. But honestly, if you're asking me like a realistic prediction, what do I think is actually going to happen? I think 11 wins and a playoff win is definitely fair. And I would just do like a little asterisk and say at least, right? Because we don't know how this team's going to look. Like, it could also be a 6-win team at the end of the day. Like, no one really knows because there's a lot of question marks with this year's team. Aaron Rodgers, like, I thought he had a pretty good year last year. I think he was still top 15, top 12 quarterback last year. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to be Aaron Rodgers as long as he doesn't go down with an injury, right? But we still don't even know who our quarterbacks are going to be. You know what I mean? So it's tough to make a 100% call when you don't even know who your QB2 is yet. You know what I mean? But from what I know and from what I've seen, I think 10 to 11 wins is pretty fair, and a playoff win I think I'm more confident on this year than I was in previous years. But it is time to get that playoff win in Pittsburgh because every team needs it like they need air right now.
Yeah, that's my thing. And I said it on my on the other episode. I said we can't be chasing Super Bowls here. We have to chase that playoff win. And I feel like yes, the people are saying we need that 7th Super Bowl, but I feel like you can't be. You got how this team has been doing. You need to talk about the playoff. They were talking about, oh yeah, we can just go to the Super Bowl just like that. No, you have to. You have to win. We've been losing for 10 years. Sat on how much we have to say. It's unfortunately what is happening in Pittsburgh. We've been losing. That's not my thing. Another thing, I don't. People say this is a hot take, but I think Mike Tomlin was a heck of a coach, right? He had an amazing defensive, but I don't think he had the best offensive mind. In my opinion, I don't think he had the best offensive mind, and that's why our offense has been struggling since Big Ben left. And even if Big Ben, it was kind of iffy. But after Big Ben, I think that's why it's been kind of struggling because we haven't found that quarterback, and we haven't found, we've had so many quarterbacks since Big Ben, and we haven't found that one. So that's my thing. So, but yeah, it's gonna be. I feel like it's gonna be a question. It's a questionable year because you don't know how this team's gonna operate. You don't know. This is a new coach staff, new era in Pittsburgh, and yeah, my thing is if you keep Aaron Rodgers protected and that O-line keeps Aaron Rodgers protected, I think he will do good, and that's my thing. But I'm very excited. I'm very excited for the season. I'm excited to see what this team can do. And but yeah, I want to know who is one Steelers player that people are like not there was some, he's not he's not that good, but like underrated, underrated player that people
Rated. I
underrated
think
player that people not like.
honestly, for me, this is an easy answer. Like I
Yeah,
think Roman Wilson is going to take a
Roman
huge
Wilson.
step this year.
Yeah,
And I know like we've been saying that for the past like 3 years, honestly, because that's just the Roman Wilson saga. That's his whole story. But like when I see Roman Wilson, if Mike Tomlin is still the coach, he's off the team in my opinion this year, right?
yeah,
Because I don't know, Tomlin and him just I don't think really got along behind the scenes, or Tomlin just didn't really like him because Tomlin would play him in the wrong position, and then Roman would screw up, and then it was just the whole thing. I feel like they just never really got off on the right foot, and it just never got back to a good relationship with them because you can kind of see it. Like he got scratched. Like the kid made a mistake against the Colts by fumbling the football. Like honestly, it was a dumb football play that could have lost the game hypothetically if things go that way. But I don't think that's a reason to bench like a borderline rookie last year because before that moment, he had like a couple touchdowns. He had a couple nice yardage plays. Green Bay to start that third down, deep to the field. I don't know if you remember that play,
that was
but against the Chargers, like Roman is honestly like really impressive. Like if you go back and watch his Michigan tape, he looks really good, as well as just how he's looked this training camp. Week 1, he looked really good. The last couple of days, like that I've been there, he hasn't shined as much as he did those first couple of days without pads on, which could be a question mark depending on how you look at it. But the way that I look at Roman Wilson is honestly like if you're telling me to pick your wide receiver core off the first like off what I've seen from training camp so far, right? I'm going in the 1 DK, in the 2 Roman, in the 3/4 Pittman Jeremy, and then so on, right? Honestly, Roman has really impressed me, and I think the coaching staff really likes him. And also, Aaron Rodgers seems to be taking
yeah,
more of a liking to him than he was last year.
yeah.
Rodgers said in a press conference, like the other day, that Roman Wilson last year was like a gazelle, just dancing around out there. But this year, his movements are controlled. It's synchronized. It's like swimming. You know what I mean? That's kind of how he described it. So I think like those are all good things to hear, from your starting quarterback about a guy like Roman Wilson. And honestly, I think that he might have more than 500 yards this season.
Yeah, I like Roman Wilson. When he got drafted, I thought he was the guy. And I feel like the Steelers when he does play, he plays when like the Chargers game. He got that touchdown when we were not playing good. He got that touchdown when we were like down by so many points, and that was like his first touch in the whole game. So I feel like they use him like in the end of the game. We're not playing good. So I really hope I actually like Roman Wilson as well, and I really hope he takes the next step and we use him actually this year because
No,
last year we haven't used him, and I like Roman Wilson. Some other things. I'm gonna go into a game real quick. We're gonna do a blind ranking. I'm gonna give you some players. So and
okay.
you don't know the players, so I'm just gonna give you a blind ranking. And I'm gonna tell you on what this is actually Bryson. Bryson did this for you, so shout out
Okay,
Bryson.
shout out Bryson. Appreciate you. All right, so
Um,
1 through 5, we got a blind rank one
yeah,
through
one
five.
through five. One through
Okay.
five. Okay. First, I'm gonna go Troy Polamalu.
Dang, yo, you can't be doing this to me this early, bro. Because I
Okay.
like me some Troy. I like me some Troy Polamalu, but I'm scared you're gonna like listen. Like, there's one player that I really like, and his name's Aaron Rodgers. Like Aaron Rodgers, I met him in Ireland. Like that's probably my favorite player to ever play the game. It's because
Yeah.
he's just won me over the last 2 seasons.
So do you think is Aaron Rodgers a top five steal for you?
Right now, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I love the dude.
Yeah.
He's a guy.
Okay.
He's
Yeah.
a legend. I actually met him in Ireland, which is cool. I don't mean to
Okay.
get off
You,
topic.
you went to the Island. You went to the Island game.
Yes, I did go to the Ireland game, and
That
it's
was an
actually like
awesome game.
the video is pinned on my profile, and it's a video about like how Aaron Rodgers like stopped and took a photo with every single fan that wanted one,
Yeah, I did see that. Like,
which is really cool.
yeah, I saw that.
Um,
Yeah.
but meeting him in Ireland was awesome, and I think he's just like I kind of find it cool how like he's not afraid to speak his mind, and obviously like whether you agree or disagree with the opinions that he has, I think that we can all agree with the statement that like at least he doesn't hold back, right? Because a lot of people nowadays they hold back, right? But let's talk Polamalu. Polamalu was like my first ever Steelers jersey. That dude was an absolute menace all over the field. Some of his clips that you just watch, like you're just like, wow, you know what I mean? I think. Hopefully you don't have Aaron Rodgers on this list. I'm putting him at 1. Troy Polamalu.
You're my 1. Okay. I have Franco Harris.
Franco Harris.
Running back.
I like Franco a lot. Obviously, rest in peace to Franco. I thought it was really cool that, the game that he was honored in, Kenny goes down, scores the touchdown. Like I remember like there was like a lot of like Franco Harris like parallels in that game. Like I can't remember them off the top of my head, but like you saw on Twitter after the game, like I don't know if it was like, oh, it took him 23 seconds to get to the kick. Like I don't know, there was like some weird things like that or whatever, or 32 or whatever, right? I'm just gonna put Franco at 3. Like I think he's a running back, number 3.
Okay, number 3. Okay, I'm gonna give you. We got some tough guys on here. I'm gonna give you Big Ben.
Big Ben, listen, like, oh no, this is so bad. I'm gonna put him at 5. I'm not really a Big Ben guy, and I think you have a couple more like good ones because that was suspicious. Let's see who you got. Did I follow this list low key?
I have another great Steelers quarterback, and that is Terry Bradshaw.
Let's go. Put him at 2.
Put that 2. Okay, there you go. There you go.
Terry Bradshaw is like the epitome of Steeler. Like I just love how he plays the game. Like you see his clips from back in the 70s where he's driving into the stadium, and this dude has like a cigarette out of his mouth. He's driving a Ford pickup truck or whatever, and it's just like it's a legendary clip. The dude didn't have any of these nonsense rules that they do in the NFL today. He was playing like real football back in the 70s. And dude won 4 Super Bowls.
Yeah, 4 Super Bowls.
That is Steeler through and through. I think he might be the most Steeler of all time behind Jack Lambert and a couple other guys. Give me Terry Bradshaw at 2.
Okay. For the last one, I got Mean Joe Green.
Oh, dang. That kind of screwed the list.
Yeah.
Number 4.
Number 4. So
the only things that I would switch, though, is actually probably put Franco at 5. Put Franco at 5, Ben at 4, Joe at 3, and then 2 and 1 the same.
Okay. That's a good list.
It's okay. It's a decent blind list.
Yeah. It's a blind ranking, so you don't know. Yeah. But I'm gonna give you. I'm gonna go back to the questions and let me go to the next one. What is? Okay, we just did the blind ranking. I want to know your favorite Steeler of all time. Favorite Steeler of all time, So I want to know your favorite Steeler of all time here.
On a personal level, this is going to be wild, but it's going to be Aaron Rodgers. Like the way that the guy has, he treats people, I really like. I think he's a very stand-up guy, and just like, because like you got to think about it. Like I've been more on the inside of the team the last 2 years, which is when Aaron Rodgers has been more prominent. So like. I would say like some of my favorite Steelers ever, and like you wouldn't think of them as Steelers, right? But I would think Russell Wilson, like he's a great guy, man.
Yeah.
He would pull like
that was a special year too, but unfortunately, what happened in the end, 6 games, unfortunately. But I thought that was a very special year.
Russ went over and like saw this kid that was crying, right, on Friday Night Lights a couple years ago. And I remember just like watching him like pull this kid over the fence, inviting the family onto the field, and like he took some photos with them, and I thought that was just really like stand up of him. Aaron Rodgers, big Steeler guy. So you're asking me for my top 3?
Yeah, let's do top 3. Top 3 best Steelers of all time.
Top 3. We're just gonna do Steel City's personal favorites.
Yeah, okay? There you go. Steel City.
In the 1, I'm going Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers,
followed then by my boy Deshaun Jameson in the 2. That dude's a dog.
Okay.
He's
Okay.
And then in the 3, finish off with Russ. I just like the way he carries himself.
Russell Wilson?
Yeah, Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson.
It's obviously different if we're talking like generally, you know what I mean? But like just from my own experiences, like those are the guys that I've had maybe the best experiences with. And I just think they're really nice guys.
I did not expect that, but that is.
I know. Like Jameson in the 2. If he watches this, what's up, my guy?
Yeah. All right.
I gotta send him this.
Okay, I'm gonna give you. I'm gonna just talk about training camp. Yeah, Pat McAfee came on, so I saw the video. You were back there just like trying to get in, and I saw that. Yeah. That was hilarious, and I want to know your thoughts about training camp. how training camp has been doing. You've been there, so I just want to know your thoughts and yeah.
No, absolutely. Like training camp for me personally has been like unreal with an exclamation point. Like the people that I've met that, maybe have recognized me are really cool. The new people that I've met, like it's kind of wild. You know what I mean? Like never in my wildest dreams would I have ever thought like that, my account would get to this point, really. Another thing is like I gave Pat McAfee one of these hats. Steel
You
City.
did. Okay. That's awesome.
Has a Steel City recap hat.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is awesome.
I know, like Tone Diggs was wearing the hat, which like he's a pretty cool guy. He's a Yinzer himself too.
Yeah, Steelers guy right there.
Yeah, no, it's been unreal on my end. Um, even just getting behind like Aaron Rodgers when he was going off on a roll. I'm just like, let's go, let's go. You can actually see me like in a background of all the
Yeah, I know that's I saw you on the.
Really.
That was awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. That's so.
Yeah, we
I
were.
want to know you.
I went
Steelers
there
coming.
with my little brother.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you could go.
Yeah, no, I went there with like my little brother. I went there with like my little brother and stuff, and we were behind McAfee. But like, if you actually want some insight into the camp, like, if there were like 3 splash players that I could call out, like I'd probably call out Drew Aller. Obviously, like we've chatted about him a little bit. Maybe Asante Samuel Jr. has been really good. And we'll just finish it off with like a Roman Wilson, right? Like those are all guys. Also, Jeremy Bernard has looked really good. I would do like Roman Wilson / Jeremy. Like those guys are just carrying themselves with such like professionalism, right? And I'm gonna finish it off with Max Ihenachor because he's gotten starting reps. He's looked really good. Even though he's like not supposed to be practicing right now due to his injury, he actually took a practice rep on Monday.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
I thought that was really cool. Like it's AFC North. Like who cares if you're a little injured? Like get in there and get some practice in. Like I'm not a big fan of like the no hitting rule. Because like I'm just the kind of guy like if you're gonna get injured in training camp, I don't want you for the game, right? And like I know like that's a stupid thing to say in a sense, but I just think hitting toughens you up. You know what I mean? Just a little bit. I think at least then everyone should play in the preseason, other than like Aaron Rodgers and a couple guys who could get hit. I want people to hit a little before they go into week 1. Just to let people know like this is real football now. But no, it's been a really good time, and everyone's kind of came to play. It's been a very impressive camp so far.
I just have a few more questions before we end. But I want to know. So Aaron Rodgers is playing this year. This is the last season. He's not coming back. So I want to know Will Howard or Drew Aller. Who do you think?
It's Drew Aller all the way. It's not even a question.
I'm a Will guy.
You're a Will guy.
I'm a Will guy. Yeah.
All right, I'll ask you a question. Why are you a Will guy?
Man, I just when we drafted him and like just how he played, I loved how he played at Ohio State that year. He played amazing football, and just how he does. Last year he didn't play because of injury, right? So I'm excited to see him play this preseason.
Absolutely, it's gonna be a lot of fun to watch him tomorrow.
Yeah. So like having Aaron Rodgers, and then him not be able to play and just he has patience. That's my thing. He has great patience, and I feel like. He deserves to like try to they let him try to start because he's had this experience and he was here before Drew Aller and he's like been patient. So that's just my thing.
Like I'm not a Will Howard hater necessarily, right? What I will say though is like I'm more of a realist than a lot of Steeler fans because at the end of the day, every NFL team passed on him 5 to 6 times, right? So those guys know a lot more than we do at the end of the day. Although I don't think your draft pick defines you by any means, but like, we've also seen Kenny Pickett play like he was a god in preseason and training camp and things like that. I do like the way that Howard carries himself, right? But if you look back at Ohio State, like that was a really good team.
Yeah.
Like, especially against like the competition that they were going up against, like it wasn't anything like. It was impressive, right? They won a national championship. They did what they needed to do, but like, I don't know, just like in comparison, like Ohio State, like you knew they were winning the Natty since day 1, pretty much. But Will Howard, like he's very precise. He knows where he's going with the ball, and he does what he needs to do. Drew Aller, though, I think he's got a higher ceiling, and I think he's got a low floor as well. but I like the bipolarness that Aller brings in a way. You're either going to get a high draft pick or you're going to go far in the playoffs, possibly. Like, I don't know much about, like, I want to see them both in the preseason, and then I'll make more of a.
Yeah, that's my thing. I want to see, like, because I haven't seen Will play it. We haven't seen neither of them play a snap in football. You know, yeah, you can talk about training camp, but you also can go back to Kenny Pickett. I actually want to know your thoughts about. What was your thoughts about Kenny Pickett? I was a big Kenny Pickett believer. I'm gonna be honest, too. Were you also Kenny Pickett believer or no?
I was at the time, but I thought it was a very desperate move. Like, I don't like I think like that's another issue that the Steelers have had like over the last decade. Like we talked about like Tomlin maybe not being offensive minded. I think it starts higher in the well, honestly, because when you see how bad our drafting has been, specifically in the first round over the last decade, like it's been poor. And that's an understatement because you're looking at guys like Terrell Edmonds, when Lamar Jackson was drafted just 9 picks or so later. Like there have been a lot of really bad draft picks, which kind of leads to the team's, defeat. Honestly, like I think that's really the main reason. Like when the Steelers were winning Super Bowls, like they weren't bringing in guys like DK and trading for them and giving them new contracts and like doing that. Like they were just Steelers, right? Like they were one helmet guys. They never really left unless like it was the end of the year, like under their career or whatever. But like for the majority, like those guys were Steelers. Like Big Ben, he's a Steeler. Terry, like we could go on and on. Troy Polamalu, he's a Steeler. Like that offensive line stayed together for years and years, and like that's why we succeeded back in the day, I think. And that's how teams do succeed is because they stick with the same teams. They stick with the same team, and that's the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I think that's what at least made us the best franchise in the NFL.
I have one more question for you before you go. I want to know what's your hottest take as a Steelers fan? You're looking at this team, and what is your hottest take? Like people might not agree with you, or.
I think like a surface level one is Drew Aller could be a franchise quarterback. I like Drew Aller a lot, but like if we're going into like maybe like kind of a wild one, I think a good hot take. I think like the one I'm gonna stick with for now is Drew Aller because like people are gonna flame me for that one. Like people like I've made a couple posts about Drew Aller and like
People
let's just say like people do not like Drew Aller very much.
Okay.
We'll put it that way. Like I've gotten DMs over like how I don't know football because I'm posting about Drew Aller. I mean like all right, I guess.
They haven't even seen a snap. They haven't even seen the guy play football in the NFL, and they'll hate it. That's what people do.
Football is a lot different than NFL football.
Yeah.
And honestly, like Drew Aller has just he's impressed me. Like initially, like I was kind of like, okay, what are we doing here? Like this guy throws a lot of games, and once again, it's not a game situation. Like it's not, it's not a game or anything right now. Like it's all training camp and preseason. But I am impressed by Drew Aller. I think he's got the zip he needs. I think he's got the arm strength. But I think, he needs to learn the game a little more. And I think, honestly, like he's in the perfect crock pot of quarterbacks right now. He's got a younger guy to bond with a little bit in Will Howard. He'll be there. They'll both be there for a couple of years, I think. He's got Mason Rudolph, like a proven vet in this league. Probably won't ever be out of the league until he needs to be. And then you got obviously the best quarterback to ever throw the football. So that's actually another one of my hot takes. So.
No, I agree. I agree on that. I think he's the greatest person to throw the football. I think Absolutely. Yes. I think so. Yeah, he's the greatest. And people hate me on it, and people hate on Aaron Rodgers. He's old and he's old, but man, if he's this is my thing. If the O line protects him, he's playing good football. He's playing. So I love Aaron Rodgers. I'm literally wearing his jersey right now.
Oh,
So I love Aaron Rodgers, and I'm hoping the Steelers have a great season this year.
Is that not a Pickett jersey with tape on the back of it?
No, it's Aaron Rodgers, sister. It's Rodgers. I have 2 Kenny Pickett jerseys. I have a Steelers one and I have a Pitt Kenny Pickett one.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you're a big Kenny guy.
Yeah, I'm a big Kenny guy. But unfortunately, what happened this preseason game, and I was a big Kenny. I thought he was gonna be a guy. My thing is, this might be a hot take, but I think Matt Canada didn't Matt Canada's like I think he's one of the worst coordinators to ever play the game, to coach the game, and so I think that like kind of ruined it. You know what I'm saying? I think he didn't. That's just my thing. I think he could have and even after Matt Canada left, he got to play one game with the new coordinator. He played pretty good. It was versus the Bengals,
Well,
and then after that game, he went to the Cardinals. Both Cardinals, and unfortunately got injured, and didn't get to play the rest of the season. And there's another thing people say he left. Yeah, he did. He got to leave. He chose to leave, but that's just my thing. And I think that's a hot take. But
no, I think that's the coldest take of all time. That dude was terrible. Like he had there was a PPG game. There was a hockey game going on.
yeah. And they said they were yelling,
Fire
fire
Canada.
Canada. Yeah,
Like
and even
you couldn't go 2 seconds without hearing fire Canada.
Yeah. And in Utah, actually, Pat McAfee was in Utah, and it was the BYU game, and they were chanting "Fire Canada." I'm like, bro, people even in Utah are saying that, so it's pretty crazy. But
it was really bad.
Yeah, so I think he's the worst coordinator to ever play the game, and I think he could have had a chance if he didn't. That's just my thing. But yeah, but thank you so much for joining. Unfortunately, Bryson could not make it. It's the meetings, but this is an amazing episode, and thank you for joining. And good luck to you.
Yeah.
You know, you've been doing super good on your content, and I've been watching it, and it's just amazing, you know. And these are the little content creators in Pittsburgh I've been watching. You guys are just doing a great job, and just have a great time, and keep grinding, because that's all you can do. And you have this
thank you.
so much success.
I'm happy to be here, and hopefully a couple members of the Steel Crew will join this podcast and watch you guys moving forward, and drop a follow on your page and stuff, my guy. But once again, like, unbelievable experience to be invited onto a podcast, but yeah, I really appreciate it.
Is this your first podcast you've been on?
I do think like this is my first like podcast outside of Steel City Takes, which is my own podcast that I've been on. And what's funny is like in the last like couple days, I've been invited to 2. So I'm just taking it as it comes. But obviously, it means a lot to catch an invite to someone else's thing. It means that I'm doing something right.
Yeah. So thank you. And thank you for everybody for watching this podcast. Thank you, Steel City. Go look at his page. Ronan Young, aka Steel City Recaps. Just search Steel City Recaps on social media, and you'll find him. He has an amazing content. I love watching them, and he's such a Pittsburgh guy, doing amazing, and so you've been doing an amazing job. And just thank you for everybody for watching, and have a great one.
Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one.